Well, that's a little different. So we actually got something in the shop that isn't a Cadillac and isn't a Datsun. So I'm stoked with the variety lately. This is a 49 Ford. Customer sent it our way just for a quick checkup. He just bought it from some guy in California, and it's got a little bit of driveline vibration. He just kind of wants to go over everything, get it up on the lift and check it out. Let me flip the camera around and show you around this thing. All right, so let's see, it's all bare metal, and all the work that's been done to it on the chop and everything is just exposed. Love that look. Kind of cool to see what goes into making these things happen. And interior's all done. It's got AC, it's got a small block, sitting on a Chevy S10 chassis, which isn't a bad way to go, I suppose. We'll see when we get it up in the air if there's anything scary. But all the headliner, interior panels, that's stuff that usually gets done last when doing a chop. A lot of these end up without headliners and all that because it's a lot of work fitting all the interior pieces. But this is very, very cool. I like it. Walking around the back. Yeah, this thing's sick. Big back window too. I wonder what that's out of. Super, super cool. So yeah, when he gets up to about 55, 60, there's a vibration in the drivetrain. And right now it's just got a small block, but he wants to put some power in this thing. So before he does that, he wants to make sure it is safe and fix that vibration. So we're gonna put it up in the air, see if we see anything obvious, and if not, we've got a couple tricks up our sleeves, and one way or another, we'll make this thing drivable. So let's get it racked and we'll see what's up. All right, with her up in the air, let's have a quick look. Let's see what we got going on. So it's built on an S10 chassis. So obviously they modified to fit the 49 Ford body. Looks like basically just cut the front frame horns and wedged the original cross members in. Made some adapters for the bumper brackets. Not a terrible way to go. We've got some Slam Specialties bags up front, trimmed out spring pockets. That all looks fine. Nothing out of the ordinary. Same deal here, just brought out body mounts and adapted cross members. So pretty solid so far. And we've got a triangulated 4-link out back. Looks like just a universal one with the bags sitting over the axle. Looks like airlift bags, which is all just fine. A couple gaps, but nothing really to write home about. And then it looks like the floor was just tunneled way up and over for the notch and everything. Some basic shocks, universal relocation. Okay. So as far as his concern about driveline vibration at speed, what I'm seeing is the drive shaft is like perfectly in line from the transmission to the rear axle. And what that'll usually cause is basically just a little bit of slop in all the U-joints because you don't have any angles in them because they're not in constant, not bind, but like when they're at an angle, there's rotation happening all the time. It sort of keeps everything, there's enough friction to kind of keep everything sort of from having that vibration at speed. So my guess is if we just adjust the pinion angle a little bit, even though it might not be the correct pinion angle, it'll probably get rid of that issue. So I see the floor's already been tunneled for the drive shaft and the axle. So what I'm gonna do is actually pitch the angle of the pinion down just a little bit. So when it's laid out, we're not gonna be pushing it up into the floor. Lower bars, upper bars are all adjustable, but they are all adjustable the same direction, right-hand thread. So I'm gonna have to basically drop this bolt, thread the bar out a little bit, and then put it back up and check that angle again. So I've got the axle supported. Let me get these nuts and bolts out. We'll adjust these and then we'll compare. Right now, if I just pick a random spot on the housing, we're at 4.4 degrees down. So I'm gonna shoot for probably, we'll go like 8.5, just add like 4 degrees, see what it does. I know that's not right, but if we're just sort of diagnosing, that'll give me something to, a result. Either it'll vibrate like hell at a lower speed, or it'll cure it, or who knows. So let's see what we got, and I'll be right back. All right, so we've lengthened the lower link bars by about 3/4 of an inch. As you can see, when we undid the bolts, the axle actually shifted back a little bit. I was just checking to see if anything was in a bind, but it's just basically because we had it up on supports and the bags are inflated, it just pushed back. So when doing this by yourself, or even with a couple of people, it can be a real pain in the butt getting the bolt back in when that happens. So what we're gonna do is use a ratchet strap. We're gonna go up forward to a cross member and then back to this spot on the axle, the rear, what would have originally been a coilover mount. And we're just going to very slowly, one-handedly, somehow, maybe, there we go. And you see that happening? It's bad enough one person, you gotta do it one-handed. Let me get it lined up and then I'll kick this video back on. Hang on. There we go. It just took 2 hands. You can tell how tight that is. Basically, now we've got it lined up. I added some grease to this bushing while I had it out. They were all pretty dry, so if he wants me to take it all apart and re-grease everything, I can, but we'll just start with what we're actually working on here. Tackle one project at a time. So now the bolt will go through. Let me get it bolted back up and get this thing off the rack and see if that made a difference. All right, both bolts back in, and we are now, what were we, 4.4? Now we're 8.7. So we added, what, 4.3 degrees more downward angle. So you can see that now that U-joint actually has to work for a living, and that may just be enough. Checking up here, got a little bit of stick out. I don't think it's a big deal. This is actually fully extended, so as it goes down, that should help. This U-joint has a bit of angle, so yeah, let's get it off the rack and let's take it for a spin and see what it does. So far so good. Looking for a quick spin. Just cruising through the neighborhood now, low speed, to see if I see anything else that needs addressing. Front wants to hit the bump stops like immediately. So that's something I'm going to talk to him about, see if he wants us to try and make more clearance or something. Might just need smaller tires. He's got some big old bias plies on here, which is real fun at high speeds. But yeah, when you hit a little dip in the road, you can hear the thing bottoming out. And if you don't hear it bottom out, if you're turning enough, you hear the tire rub. So one thing we definitely need to look at is he's got the front and the rear on basically a 2-path system. We've got a front up and down, a rear up and down. And what we're seeing is when you air up and then you sit my fat ass in the driver's seat, the whole car leans to the driver's side because there's nothing isolating that bag from the one on the passenger side. So normally we like to install 4-path setups so you can sort of dial that out and the air won't transfer from one side to the other. Alright, let's get out on the main road. I'll gun it, get it up to speed and see if it makes any weird noises. Solid. Let off. Said it was mostly just like cruising speed, which makes sense. I think we're in good shape. There's still plenty of other noises and vibrations and stuff stuff in this thing, but it's also a 73-year-old, 74-year-old car, so what are you gonna do? But I think we're getting there. It's not bad at all. Alright. This is a rad cruiser. Very comfortable, aside from that not being able to roll super low. But I'm digging it, man. This is pretty cool. Still plenty of headroom with the chop. They didn't go too crazy on it, but alright. Let's get her home and have him come through, and we'll go over some stuff with him and see what he wants to do. Well, customer came by yesterday evening. We went over everything underneath and set up a time for him to bring it back. A couple weeks from now he's going to bring it. We're going to change out the front bags, change the valves and compressors, go to a 4-path setup with some bigger bags in the front so it hits ride height at a lower pressure. Going to put some shocks on the front end. Shoot, what else? We're going to change up the gauges and controls inside. And then he's still on the fence about it, but we might also be swapping the small block that's in it for something a little nastier. So we'll see if he decides to pull the trigger on that while it's here. Be happy to help him swap that out if he wants to do it. So he's on his way over to pick it up now. So for now, we'll just we'll call the video done at that, and hopefully you see it again soon. So thanks again for watching, and feel free to comment. So hopefully you like the car as much as I do. I think it's a lot of fun to have something in bare metal that just kind of shows everything in the raw before it gets all smoothed over and painted and everything gets hidden. So let me know what you think. Thanks again, guys. Talk to you soon.